So, NerdPie, what has the responses been when they find out that you're 16 and homeschooled? And what's the difference between the response that you're 16 versus the response that you're homeschooled?
So the response when I say I'm 16, that is more with people that don't know me as well. Like there's a kid on the bus that I take who I was telling a friend of mine, well, I'm 16, I have no idea what I'm doing. And he's like, you're 16? Dang, you're smart. And I'm like, how? You barely even know me. All I know about you is that you take the bus with me.
Well, apparently you don't drool on yourself, so that's an uptake, I guess, in what he's expecting from a 16-year-old.
My teachers have always been, oh, you're smart. And I've gotten some like, you can take college classes at 16? That's weird.
The teachers?
No, kids.
Oh, okay.
No, the teachers were all notified ahead of time that they might have someone under 18, because for my math class we had to take a survey, and instead of taking a test, which everyone was kind of excited about and kind of bummed because we just spent all weekend studying, and so first it's like, anyone who's taken the survey, one person stands up and they don't have to go. Anyone who's under 18, and like 10 of us stand up, and I had no idea I wasn't the only one. But I think I'm the only dual enrolled person rather than graduated early, or just graduated before they turned 18. And so seeing that, the difference between, oh, you're a junior in high school, and oh, you're under 18 is kind of a very different thing. Mm-hmm. I have a friend who I'm partnering with. He was kind of like, you're homeschooled. Don't know anyone who's homeschooled. That's just, I've only heard like stories about homeschool people. I don't like know any. And I'm like, well,
she's a unicorn.
Yeah.
Or a Yeti, one of the two.
Well, I was like, well, I've never hung out with public schoolers like this before, so.
Now, how old is he?
He is, I think he's 18 or 19. He just graduated. Most of the people in my classes either are coming back to school after like starting their lives, or are like just graduated.
Okay.
Mostly freshmen.
So you had said that your speech partner, because she's giving a speech on, it had to be on a culture, I think, and so your culture is
comic books, because why not?
Right. I'm so surprised. But didn't you say he asked an interesting question?
So he said that one of like the things that he thought were bad about homeschooling, and he said himself he did not really know about it, was like, how do you know if they're like learning the truth? How do you know if they're actually learning facts? And I'm kind of like, you think we're being brainwashed?
Well, he's discovered my secret. Yes, and my 14-year-old's making ooh faces behind the camera. That is interesting, because I really do think that that's kind of that public school propaganda, that if you don't have us, or you don't have something you pay lots and lots of money for, it's not worth anything. I've kind of found it interesting that these 18-year-old snot-nosed kids who find out she's 16 respond such a way, and I really do think it's a little bit of a conviction, meaning you hold yourself this way, and I'm supposedly an adult, and I barely am making it. And now the other side is those people don't understand that she's barely making it too in some ways. Not in the classes, but in life. Because I'm going to be very honest, I was public schooled, but I was in college at 17 because my birthday's in September. And I'd been doing programs in high school on college campuses. And even though I was public schooled, there was a lot of like, which, I mean, let's be really clear though. In order to do college in high school, in theory, you have to have your life a little more together than you do in order to start at 18.
Yeah.
Just because you've got to I had to fill out paperwork to get her there. Yeah, it wasn't hard. But if she was in public school, she would have to take that paperwork and get it filled out. What have you observed in generous terms about the education system differences between public school and private and homeschool?
I've only taken one class outside the home before, taking Mrs. Belt's science classes. And she's amazing. Go take her class.
If you're in Fresno, contact me. I'll connect you. Seriously.
She's amazing. But so she was the only teacher I had, and so my math professor teaches a lot like her, and so I was kind of used to it, just patiently working through the problems, not assigning homework that he doesn't show us either the same problem or a version of the problem on the board, and just very patiently going through. But I don't need like any of that. I could learn everything I was going to learn from each class in like 15 minutes. And so the rest of it is just kind of working along with the class, not really. I would go through this a lot faster by myself.
Okay.
Whereas with public speaking, that is something you can't really, that's something you have to run with the class because it's working with the class. And so I am learning some things about culture and nonverbal communications, talking with my hands.
Can you talk without your hands?
Yes. No.
For all you Hoothians out there.
But just, that is more lecture and then application. And I thought it would be more teaching us how to write the speeches rather than lecturing while you write the speeches and then you just present, having not learned about what you're talking about.
So what do you think about, a friend of ours who was both homeschooled and public schooled had counseled NerdPie about the fact that she's always been free to run at her own speed versus having to run with a slightly slower herd. And I don't say it because she's all that smarter than the average bear. But just that idea, because even with Mrs. Beltz's science class, they were free to like work on other things and do other things if people needed help. As far as that kind of stuff, the administration, the getting her classes was a bit of a nightmare. What do you think about all that bureaucracy and all of that hurry up and wait?
It's useful in its place. I'm sure there are places that it could be cut down, but at least my college seems to be running pretty efficiently with it. So I did have a friend I met with yesterday said, how did you even get classes through high school enrichment? How do you get like actual real classes? I couldn't find any that were above like a unit because I was high school enrichment. And I'm like, I just got on the list. I didn't do anything special.
Well, and I think at the same time, she hasn't really seen a lot of, even though, how many days are you sitting and watching other people give speeches next week? 5 days of not doing any actual classwork. She's going to give a speech. It's going to be how many minutes?
8 to 10.
8 to 10 minutes, and then spend an entire week of a college class. Now, I will say, as a mom, sending her kid to college classes for the first time, I was afraid because, now maybe part of this is because I started off as a computer engineering major. I started off with like a full load of like third semester calculus. I had an 8 o'clock programming class where I was, I think, the only girl and I was one of 2 freshmen. It was like, I was like in the deep end. So I thought I'm going to put her in a math class because that's a real class. She'll have real homework. And that way she doesn't get thrown off, but it's a math class that she's already kind of gone past a little bit. So she'll have real homework, maybe having to work more than she ever did, but not be intimidated. How do you think, and part of it is the luck of the draw. I know some kids who start off with college classes and go, this teacher asks so much of me.
Yeah.
But what do you think about like math homework versus math homework?
Nerdster is spending more time on math than I am.
And he's taking Algebra 2. And he's taking Bob Jones Algebra 2 for anybody who cares.
And he's not doing a lecture. I think including my lecture and my homework, I'm spending about the same amount of time per week as he is. Maybe a little more, but times that I'm actually learning or writing, about the same.
Yeah. So, I mean, as a mom, I have to say, I picked a real class, what I consider a real class, which in Trig. And let's be honest, she's 16. I picked what I wanted her to have. And she had to keep going. I wanted her to keep going with that. In our house, some people say you play sports. Some people say you program in at least one language and can do calculus by high school. That's my life. And I wanted her to keep going with math. And so I really thought that would, I remember having to learn how to test because my kids have never really been tested much before. That wasn't open book, open note. And she's not getting that this semester. I also made a point of putting her in a lecture class instead of doing an online option because I wanted her to have that classroom experience, understand how that worked before she was swamped by a really hard subject. Yeah. So I think in many ways it has been a bit of a culture shock.
Yeah, definitely.
And a learning experience. And if you're looking at dual enrollment, books are not included. You still have to pay for those.
Yeah, they're expensive.
But yeah, so that's her 2 cents on what it's like to start college as a high schooler, as a homeschooler. Let me know if you have any questions you'd like any of my kids to answer. I have a junior in high school who's dual enrolled. I have a freshman, and I have a 7th grader. Let me know in the comments, and come find me over on Facebook at the Nerd Family, and possibly coming soon, the Homeschool Hangout Facebook group. Let me know what you think about that. Bye.
Bye.